friends, this is Jazz. Yes, bringing you another Bargin Haul. So close to the other one, I know. This one, though, isn't going to be a half one, and plus what I'm reading. Today is actually number 12, and now, I know I could technically call this number 13, but I felt that the last one just did not have enough in it to make it a full Bargin Haul, which is why I added the other section. But the reason why I have it so close together is that on my way home from work the other day, my aunt suddenly stopped somewhere, and I'm like, wait, why are we stopping there? I thought she maybe had to get something or something, and it turns out it was a book sale. And I'm like, and I looked at her, and she said, yep, but originally she said, just what you're looking for, which again, with you not knowing what will be there, you're like, you're probably not going to find it. I didn't even expect really to get one thing. Really? My aunt did spoil me anyway, because one or two of them weren't originally what I was looking for. She knew I was excited about them, so she let me get them. Now, technically, you could say, well, the other time you got 5 books and you said it wasn't enough for a full Bargin Haul. Must mean you got more than 5 books this time. Yeah, I did. Now, one book particularly is sort of something I already have, but in a sense of the word, I'll tell you what it is when I show you. But first I'll show you, well, not the least exciting, but the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. I actually was looking for a dictionary for a while, especially because I read a lot. And plus, this could help me learn to spell words. Like, I could look them up and practice them, and someone could ask me the word or, like, the definition, and then I would look it in here. So it's something for me to practice a little bit, which I am. I wanted a dictionary, so despite what it seems like, I wanted a dictionary. So it's, when I say least excited, I mean maybe to you least exciting, but I'm looking forward to using this. Maybe I could practice learning new words with it. Trust me, I need to. By the way, my spelling is horrendous. Thank God for spell check. And there's 2 books here I'm putting together, sort of in a way. But the first one, which these are what I'm most excited about. This one particularly. Remember last time we got Chronicles of Narnia books? Well, we got Prince Caspian, which means I can finally start reading it in the order that is appropriate, in a way. Because, like, for example, you know how they said The Magician's Nephew was 1 and The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe was 2? This one is labeled 4, but these aren't the orders you should read it. Apparently, you should start with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and then this, and then I forget the other orders, but I know that The Magician's Nephew is second to last, that you should actually read it. So, there's actually a movie of Prince Caspian and The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. Well, speaking of last, The Last Battle, which is put as 7 as the last one. This is the only book with the appropriate number that it should be read, right? I know, I'm like, why did I get this when I don't have the rest of it? Well, it was at the sale, right? And if I hadn't picked it up when I did, if I wanted the book, it may have cost a lot more money to get it. So if I ever see one of them that I don't have, I'll pick them up and just leave them until I can read them, right? At least I have them when I want to read them. So that's the thing, guys. If you're collecting books, especially in a series, if you're at a book sale and you see those books, right, don't worry the fact they don't have the numbers before that you don't have. Pick up that book, because someday you'll be wanting that book, right? And it'll be a lot more money. And that is a what's the word for it? That is a common, thing when you're buying books, right? Like, if you can get them for a cheaper price somewhere, buy them even if you shouldn't have to read them yet. I'm just really happy they had Prince Caspian. Because technically, I had The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the Magician's Nephew, and that's all I had. So I had number 1 technically and number 6. So now I got 1, 2, even though it says 4. 6 and 7. So I just need 3 more to complete this set in a way. And as I said, I didn't expect even to be at the book sale, let alone find 2 books added to the Narnia collection there. Because once I'm done reading the series of unfortunate events, like I've been reading, like I'm reading Harry Potter. But since the book is so long, what I do, again, just to explain those who hadn't seen the videos when I explained it, is I'd read 4 other books, right, that are easier for me to understand in a way. And so far I've been reading 2 Goosebumps books, 1 the series of unfortunate events, and 1 other book, right, at a lower level. Now, you can argue that maybe this isn't such a low level. But you know what, this doesn't even seem that hard from even reading a few words of this, like this. And once I actually start reading it, it probably will be easier for me to understand. So, and this has a smaller amount of pages in it too. So, that's what I mean, like a shorter book that isn't that hard of level. And apparently this is made by Scholastic, so kids do read this. It's just the way I see it. So I consider this a smaller book than Harry Potter. And then I read another 100 or 200 pages of the Harry Potter. You would argue, well, do I forget? I just read a few pages beforehand. I'm like, okay, this is what happened. My memory is getting better when it comes to reading. So this kind of gives me a break from just straight reading the Harry Potter book. So when I get back to it, I'm like, oh yes, I'm there. So let's read what happens next. It's not, I'm not saying this works for everyone, guys. Not everyone who's reading, especially if they're starting out, don't do that, right? If you are going to do that, do maybe 1 other book, and then go back to the book you're reading, right? It's just, I'm getting used to it, and sometimes, for me, I need the longer break from it to appreciate it. Everyone is different. Some people could read a whole Harry Potter book in 2 days, which is amazing, by the way. I mean, I'm starting to get better, because the last time I read the Harry Potter, or the Half-Blood Prince, I got to my 127-page goal in 2 days, which for me, it means I'm improving. Or I just wanted to read right through it. But anyway, back to what I was doing. Now I got 3 books here that I'm excited about. 2 of them were sort of on my list in a way. I kind of wanted them, one of them I kind of wanted eventually, but one was what I mean by it not being completely on my radar, my list. But the one that was completely on my list of books that I wanted to get was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I wanted to eventually read this book at some point, but I didn't know when I was going to get it, and I was planning to order it if I was going to read it, but I actually managed to find it at that book sale, just by accident, right, which is awesome. Like, I loved the movie, well, at least, well, how do I put it, they both had their merits, right, both movies, in a way. I mean, like, I don't know how to explain it, like, I guess the Roald Dahl did not like the first one, but his daughter liked the other one better, right? But I guess, obviously the first one is a classic, the first movie of it, right? But I think they both have their merits. Like, artistically, the sequel is better, because Tim Burton's abilities, you know, that way is amazing, which I guess, I'm not sure for sure, but I think they said Tim Burton is on the autism spectrum. And that is confirming some people's speculation that those with neurodiversity, that not just including autism in this one, seem to have a stronger capability in the creative department, in a way. But anyway, the next one, James and the Giant Peach. I never watched them. Well, I've heard of the movie, and I may have glanced at it a little bit, but I remember the NC's review of it. And it's based on a book, so I didn't realize Roald Dahl, I forgot Roald Dahl actually made this book, but I still did eventually want to read it. If I have a chance to read it, great. But I'm starting to become a Roald Dahl fan when it comes to his books. In a way, it's kind of just the right amount of challenge. Okay, no, maybe a little easy for me, right? But it's not like really childish, right? Like the picture books in a way. It's starting to grow on the higher level for children's books. And the final one is Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator. Now, this is the one out of the three that I wasn't originally on my list because I didn't know it existed. But the fact that it's kind of like a sequel and add-on to the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory series, might as well. I mean, it would be, personally, it would be, and I even said to my aunt, well, it was there. It'd be kind of stupid not to get it, right? Because it's like a sequel, and it's there about the same price. That's another tip, folks. If you think you're going to like a series and there's a sequel to it there, get it. Because you might want to read it later again, just like anything else. Like, get it so you'll have it and not regret not having it. Sometimes I think when you get books, think, and think again. Like, think at least 3 times, okay? Like, if you're about to leave something, you're like, but then stop for a second and think, okay, do you really want it? And if by the 3rd think, you know you're not going to want it, leave, right? Like, give it at least 3 thoughts, like 3 chances of thinking, right? And if you do, I'm not saying that, not everyone will change their mind after thinking about it 3 times. They might say no, they just don't want to get it, and that's fine, right? But at least give it 2 to 3 stops and things. Like, don't just say, yeah, I'm not going to want it, and then leave. At least give it a bit of thought, which is what I did with this. I'm like, oh, well, this is not really what's on my list, and that it's not exactly, you know, with the Chocolate Factory, I got that, but then I'm like, you know what, no, I might want to read this afterwards, and now I have it to read, even if I'm not reading it right away. So, and I got some Archie Comics. I mean, what collection? Well, this has a little bit of a rip. This one, okay, this one here. Okay, I'm still learning which hand works with which in the camera, but it's still cool. It's a book I didn't have, and this is the 80th Jumbo Digest. And seeing what is on the back here. Oh, Riverdale. Of course, Riverdale. But I'm starting to get into Archie Comics more, or comics in general, so it gives me something else just to easily read, in a way. I'm having a hard time reading that second Archie's, what is the best of Archie Comics, because in the center, right, I have this fold, and it's hard to kind of open it and look at it. Like, that's the only downside, and that's not the fact the comics fault. Not that the comics aren't interesting, it's hard to fully read it, so I try to look at some of them online that I can't understand, but these are 2 more to add to my collection to read. I've become a bigger reader than I ever have in my life. I don't know why, but it's just, maybe because when I read, I'm kind of at peace in some ways. I don't know. Now, the final book here is what I've been telling you about, saying that I already kind of have it, but there's a reason I got it, and that is the end of a series of unfortunate events. I know, yeah, you recently saw me unbox, you know, that, and I wasn't planning, this is something I wasn't planning for a while. I think this is the US, it's definitely not the British version of it, but I saw it there and I'm like, this has to be the US version of it. That's the reason I got it, I could read it as I read the other ones. Now, I would have read the British version and made do of it, right? But I'm like, well, it was there, right? I couldn't not get it. It was right there in front of me, and at first, I kind of wished, I mean, I suppose you could never look into the future, but if I could, I sort of wish I knew I was going to get this one earlier, and I would have avoided book 13 in the British version, but hey, I could see it now as a novelty. I got one from a different type of, a different type of book. So, I have several of the Cuckoo Clock of Dooms. I I have the French version of the Haunted Mask that goes next door. So it's kind of a novelty, is the way I see it. And I'm looking forward to reading this series the way I had read it before. So, I mean, it was a real surprise going to that book sale, and I think there was just enough books to say Bargin Haul 12. Now, yeah, lately I know the Bargin Haul's been a lot of books, but you know what, it's something new, in a way, and I'm not saying there ever is going to be a Bargin Haul that I have something else to, trust me, but I'm saving a lot of the games, unless, I mean, how do I put it? The only time I will include things in a Bargin Haul if I got them that would be cheaper than they would normally be. So if I bought a game, right, just randomly, I wouldn't be including it on a Bargin Haul if it was the price it was. So usually when I go to places like book sales and Value Village, they are on sale for what they normally would be. So they're automatically included in like a Bargin Haul. Trust me, this book originally cost me like 13 or something bucks in the British version of it. This here was like $1.30, I think, or $2 or something. So this is a big deal here, and I'm just happy about it. Like I think my favorite pickup was this and that. I mean, I suppose I loved everything because 90% of it I really wanted from the beginning and was going to get it later, but I managed to get it for a good price. So anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this Bargin Haul, give it a big thumbs up, and if you're new to this channel and like what you see, please subscribe and help this channel a lot. And don't forget to hit the bell notification so you'll know when new videos are coming out. And I'll see you guys in my next video.